The story of Jack. Jack was a young man who lived in a small town surrounded by mountains. He loved playing outside with his friends and exploring the hills around his home. Jack's father was a soldier, and he would tell Jack stories about bravery, teamwork, and never giving up, even when things were hard. Jack listened to every story and wanted to be like his father, a person who would help others and make the world a better place. One day, something big happened that changed Jack's life forever. The news was full of a terrible event, and people were worried and scared. Jack was just finishing high school, and he knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a soldier, just like his dad. He wanted to protect people and keep them safe. So when he turned 18, Jack joined the army. Training to become a soldier was tough. Jack woke up very early every morning, long before the sun was up. He had to run, lift heavy weights, and learn how to follow orders. He learned how to use different tools, how to keep calm under pressure, and how to work as part of a team. Sometimes Jack was so tired he thought he couldn't go on, but he kept trying because he knew that being a soldier meant never giving up. After several months of hard work, Jack became a real soldier. He was proud to wear his uniform. Soon he was sent to a faraway country called Afghanistan. The place was very different from his hometown. The mountains were much higher, the weather was hot, and the language was strange. Jack was excited but nervous too. He had never been so far from home, and now he was in a place where danger could be around every corner. Jack's first mission was to go on patrol with his team. They had to walk through rocky paths and dusty streets, keeping their eyes open for any trouble. Jack's heart beat fast, and his eyes scanned every shadow. He remembered his training, stayed alert, and trusted his friends beside him. Everything went well, but Jack realized that being a soldier was not just about fighting. It was also about helping. His team often brought food and supplies to local villages, and they made sure the kids were safe. Jack liked this part the most. He even learned some words in the local language so he could talk to the kids and make them smile. But it wasn't always safe. One day when Jack and his team were walking back to their camp, something terrible happened. There was a loud noise like thunder, and the ground shook. Jack was thrown to the ground, and everything around him was dusty and confusing. His ears were ringing, and he saw his friend Mike lying on the ground not far away. Jack's heart dropped. Mike had been hit by an explosion, and Jack had to get him to safety. He crawled over to Mike, grabbed him, and pulled him behind a big rock where they were safe. He called for help, and soon the medics arrived. Jack was scared, but he didn't leave his friend's side. Sadly, Mike didn't make it. Jack was heartbroken. It was the first time he had lost someone so close, and he didn't know how to handle the sadness. But Jack knew that he had to stay strong for his team and for the people back home. He kept going day after day and remembered his promise to protect others. Years went by, and Jack became a leader. He was respected by the other soldiers because he was brave and fair. He led many missions, always making sure his team was safe. Jack learned that being a good soldier wasn't about being the toughest or the strongest. It was about being smart, caring, and always looking out for the people around you. One of Jack's biggest missions was in a city called Mosul. The city was in danger, and Jack's team had to help make it safe. They had to move carefully, building by building, making sure that no one was hurt. Jack had learned to speak a little of the local language by then, and he talked to the families to make sure they were okay. The kids in the city looked up to Jack, and he would often give them small treats like candy or toys. It reminded him of his home, and it made the hard days a little easier. But not all missions went well. One day, Jack's team was walking down a narrow street when there was another explosion. Jack felt a sharp pain in his leg, and he fell. He was hurt badly, and his team had to carry him back to the camp. Jack was flown back to the United States to recover. It was a long and hard journey. He had to learn to walk again, and sometimes he felt very sad and alone. But Jack remembered his promise, never to give up. His family and friends helped him through the tough times, and little by little he got stronger. When Jack was better, he decided he wanted to keep helping, even if he couldn't fight like before. He became a teacher for new soldiers. He taught them everything he knew, how to be brave, how to be smart, and how to take care of each other. Jack's students listened carefully to his stories, and they knew they were learning from someone who had seen a lot and who cared deeply about doing what was right. One day there was a call for help from another country. A group of soldiers needed someone with Jack's experience to guide them. Even though Jack was not as strong as he used to be, he knew he couldn't say no. He went back to the battlefield, leading a team to save people in danger. Jack used everything he had learned over the years. He moved carefully, spoke to the locals with kindness, and kept his team safe. This mission was Jack's last. He had given all he could, and he returned home with a sense of pride. After that, Jack retired from the army, but he didn't stop working. He started a group to help other soldiers who had come home. Jack knew that the hardest battles weren't always on the battlefield. Sometimes the hardest battles were the ones you fought inside yourself, trying to feel okay after seeing so many hard things. He helped the soldiers find jobs, talked to them when they were sad, and made sure they knew they weren't alone. Jack's story spread through the town, and soon many people came to hear him speak. Kids from schools would listen to him tell his adventures, and Jack always made sure they understood that being brave wasn't about not feeling scared. It was about doing what's right, even when you're afraid. Jack became a hero not because he was the strongest or the fastest, but because he cared deeply about others. He was always willing to lend a hand, to share a smile, and to listen when someone needed to talk. Jack had fought many battles, but in the end, he knew that the greatest battle was to keep being kind and strong, no matter what life threw at you. Every night, Jack would sit on his porch, watching the sunset over the mountains, thinking of his friends who didn't make it back. He knew he had done his best, and that was enough. Jack's story was a story of bravery, kindness, and the simple truth that sometimes being a hero means just doing the right thing day after day.